Oh crap, it's Navlan. We've been invaded by Navlan. I completely forgot that this would happen here. Yeah, he sometimes does actually invade in areas where there's a lot of enemies that you can't really reliably take out before you have to fight him because, yeah, there's this basilisk there. And the spell he's using is a dick move because he's the only one who actually has that spell. It's like Scraps of Life, only instead of in random locations, the dark pillars will erect kind of in your direction. They will home in on you. There's no real way for you to actually cast that spell yourself. If you cast Scraps of Life, it obviously doesn't do that. But maybe in the DLC there's a spell like that, I don't know, I haven't checked them all out yet. But anyway, hi by the way, and welcome back to Dark Souls 2. We're back down where we fought the Dukes, the Freya. We now have the Ashen Mist Heart, which allows us to enter the memory of the Withered, which is what the item description says. And this dragon seems pretty withered, and this crystal, well, it kind of hints towards the fact that it might be kind of related towards Seath, but we don't know, obviously. At least we can't tell for sure. Yeah, we see kind of a scene. We see arch trees in the background. They are burnt down, which probably means that this has happened sometime after they got burnt down in the process of murdering all the dragons by the Witch of Islith, because they don't really smoke anymore or anything. Plus there's a dead dragon right ahead of us. And yeah, this isn't time travel, we're actually inside a memory. So, yeah, we are going to get the Ancient Dragon Soul. We don't need to fight the Ancient Dragon to get the soul, but this is probably what the Ancient Dragon was based on. The Ancient Dragon was probably cloned with that as a base by Duke Aldia. Either that, or something completely different. We don't know. Anyway, this weapon here is the weapon that we can make from the Ancient Dragon Soul. It's pretty sweet. The Curved Dragon Greatsword. Forged from the soul of the Ancient Dragon. In the Age of Ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of cray crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. Those words are lifted straight from the intro cinematic of Dark Souls 1. And they are the description of this weapon. This weapon is a curved greatsword, which is actually a pretty great one as far as I'm concerned. It has a special ability. The heavy attack will shoot a little bit of a ranged attack out. Whether you one-hand or two-handed doesn't matter, it just does it, and it's actually pretty useful in some cases. In PvP it is for obvious reasons, and in PvP I suppose you could, well, catch someone off guard. But as far as attack rating goes, this is probably one of the better curved greatswords. Anyway, more Ashen Mist Heart action. This is a giant's corpse, so to speak. So let's enter it. There's nothing else really we're gonna have to do. Most of the memories we're gonna enter today are optional. This one, as well, is optional. And as this message helpfully tells us, we won't be able to stay here for long. If we are here for too long, we will just be teleported back out and have to try again.
What are you doing here? You are not one of our soldiers, and I don't take you for a mercenary. Whoever you are, this is no battle to involve yourself in. Whether you are guided by bravery or brashness, this is no place for you. I am Drummond, and the Lord has placed this fort in my hands. Whoever you are, I forgive your trespass, but leave this place immediately. Just mention my name, and no man will challenge your exit. And even if you don't, by now, my men have not the will to resist. Soon, the giants will descend upon this fort. It is revenge for the kingdom's misguided barbarism. The venerable lord built this kingdom to bring prosperity to his subjects. What has transformed him so, I cannot imagine. Long ago, the king crossed the seas, pillaged the land of giants, and brought back a prize. It was then that the golems materialized. The giants are no ordinary barbarians. A singular rage burns within their hearts. My father and his father both fought the giants on this very land. The giants have wills of steel. They cannot find it within themselves to forgive the misdeeds of our Lord. Did you see him? That towering monster among them? That is most certainly their king. He will be a thing to topple. Even if I should die trying. My blade may break, my arrows fall wide, but my will shall never be broken. Those who live by the sword will die by it, and I, Drummond, won't go down without drawing mine. Be gone with you. This fort will soon fall. Be gone before the giants are entirely upon us.
So yeah, the time we spent talking to Drummond here will of course also count towards the time we spent inside the memory. So we don't have that much time left. But there's a crack in the wall. Oh yeah, not anymore though now, I guess. In these giants' memories, and there's several giants' corpses or those trees, we've seen them as we went to the Forest of Fallen Giants, and they all will bring us back to the war against the giants, and we will fight plenty of giants here. Most of the time, it's actually more or less straightforward. They're not too powerful. Though we are actually using dark magic, which they are weak to, as far as I can tell anyway. It's very useful against them. Having Dark Orb or Resonant Soul can usually 2 or 3 shot them, depending on your stats and your catalyst and whether you're min-maxing and whatever. But it looks as though we have run out of time already. Not quite yet, we still have a little, but it's best to just get out of here and try again. Much like any other area, we will have to fight the enemies again, of course. They will always be reset. Until, of course, you despawn them by killing them too much. It's really no different. It's only kind of a micro area with a time limit. And those pyromancy giants up there, you'll want to take them out first. Because, well, there's a ladder to the right there which allows you to climb up on the roof of that building. Or you can just walk down here. In either case, if those fireballs hit you, it's bad news. Because they will knock you off your feet and you will fall flat to the ground. And those other giants, they will just, you know, do their business. And it's not pretty business. We've already fought those guys, by the way, down in Black Gulch. It's the same kind of giant. Exact same moves and everything. They're also the most difficult to fight as far as I'm concerned. But thankfully there's not too many, and you don't actually have to fight any of them. The only ones you really recommend fighting are those pyromancy guys, because, well, if they hit you, as I already said, it's not something you want to experience. If you're lucky, you can do it. Like, you can just climb up here, and walk across that little roof here and completely ignore everything and then just drop back off. But most of the time, the fire-throwing giants will just get you. But if you have those taken out, well, you can just use that little place up here to snipe everything. And hexes prove to be really useful. And the giant warrior club is actually the weapon those really big guys were wielding. They were wielding 2 of them, but we only have 1. But you can use a bonfire aesthetic here, of course, if you will. And the Blossom Kite shield we just now picked up is one of those shields that have higher stamina regen if you use them. It also features a rose design on it. It actually pops out too, it's really nice. It's actually one of the shields that won the shield design contest. Oh, and by the way, if I were you, I wouldn't question the fact that we can actually pick things up inside a memory and then actually have them once we get back out. It's not really something that will make a lot of sense. Not even the fact that we're inside it. A wizard did it, we could say that, yeah. I don't really know if there's a good lore explanation for how this works. The thing is that the Ashen Mist Heart is kind of, sort of, a manifestation of some kind of ash from the first flame or something. Don't quote me on that, please. It's just stuff that might be. It's pure speculation. I have nothing to base this on except for the name of the item. But that might have something to do with it. Maybe. Anyway, you already got the message that we don't have a lot of time left. Now, our goal always is a giant's corpse, or the corpse of something. And once we find it, we can examine it and get an item, a soul of a giant, and if you examine it again, well, we exit the memory. Now here's another giant's tree thing, and also Benhart. Let's have a nice little chat with him, it's been a while.
Well, we meet again. What are you doing here? Who'd have thought we'd meet in a place like this? Fate just won't let us stay apart, will she? See, the old sword's caught your attention. Well, you've a good eye then. That has been in my family for generations. They say it is crafted with moonlight, and we all know what that means. It wards off evil. And I wouldn't trade her for all the riches in the world. It's said that no man has ever teased out the sword's true power. But in the right hands... I see you've taken a liking to the sword. Well, I applaud you, for you've a sharp eye. But this is one sword, pal, I wouldn't be giving up. If you still insist on having it, then you will have to pry it from my cold hands. I've a great debt to you, and I'll never forget it. I, Benhart, swear by my honour to aid you in your darkest hour, so no problem, pal.
I'm just gonna say that by the end of this video, we will have his sword. But now, it's time for the next memory. This one, much like the last one, is completely optional as well. But there is one memory that we absolutely have to enter. And here, for some reason, we find Benhart. So yeah.
Oh, look at you, old friend. I see your travels way upon you yet. Just remember, I'm always ready to help. My homeland is in the Far East, a kingdom of honourable fighting men. And this sword yet awaits a true man to wield it. I know how swords think, you see. My home and this...
So our reward for beating this memory will be another giant soul. Much like we got a giant soul for the last memory we've been in. For every giant's memory, in fact. And we also got one giant soul from those two giants at the bottom of Black Gulch. And I'm gonna say it right away, by the end of this video we are going to have 4 giant souls. There are 5 in the game. The 5th one we get that from the Ancient Dragon, which I did not fight, or I did fight him but I didn't defeat him. And we actually don't need 5 giant souls. It makes things a little easier, but 4 are basically enough, and we only need them for one thing, and they always do it that way. Except for one time, because one time I was dumb, but still, we're not gonna fight the Ancient Dragon, probably. So yeah, there is another Pharaoh's contraption, but you can see that there's a little bit of an opening in the wall to our right. We just had a look at it. And if we use that Pharaoh's contraption, there will be kind of blades coming out, shooting in a direction, damaging us. It's obviously not a good idea to actually use that contraption. It's a waste of a lockstone. And up ahead is one more of those pyromancy guys. I'm afraid of them. Deathly afraid. I don't care about anything else but those guys. I just kill them from a range, hopefully outside of their range. And there's no point in actually saving these soldiers here, because the soldiers are hostile just as much as the giants. I don't know why, because there's... I don't know. We are kind of their size, and we're obviously not a giant. But I guess they have their orders. Though then again, we could mention Drummond's name. And yep, this lowers that platform, which actually leads us to something nice. So, right away, let's go try to get it. Just did a plunge attack so I don't roll by accident. Shouldn't have happened anyway, but still I kind of fucked up the actual jump inside the area we tried to enter, but oh well. Of course we can also get the soul of the giant without exiting the memory, which is helpful in trying something a second time, which is what we have to do if we want what's inside that building. And there's actually something that we missed as well. Every time you can find bonfire ascetics in one of those giants' memories, it probably means that they are a popular spot for farming. Mostly if there's multiple bonfire ascetics, it means they're used for farming ascetics, but you don't really need that many ascetics, to be honest. If you use more ascetics than the game gives you, just like that, then you probably grind way too much. And oh, look at that, time limit's almost over. Well, this is very annoying, and part of the reason I don't like this area, sorry. Of course I hate it. Well, I don't hate it, but the time limit and the fact that it's 3 micro areas rather than one big one is kind of a little bit puts a little bit of a damper on the whole thing. And yeah, this will lead us back to here, but hey, Back inside the memory, let's try this again. Now. Good. Well, I honestly don't know if you have to jump here or if just rolling over will do the job, but it seems like you have to jump. It basically only brings us into a room with a little bit of treasure. One of the things we can get here is actually pretty damn useful, the Grand Lance. It is one of the more powerful lances. I'm not sure if it's the most powerful, but it's certainly the one that I already used in not No Man's Wharf. I think it was the Lost Bestie. But yes, this is basically it now. We're done here. And of course, there's one thing that we haven't explored yet. There is another King's Door, which we need the King's Ring for. It's right there to our left, but there's also Phantoms, which are only there in New Game Plus, of course. Let's see if the ranged attack of our sword will actually be useful here. It should be, really. Yep, knocks that guy down. Not that one because he's using a shield, but it should be pretty useful for kind of crowd controlling those two, even though I'd hardly call two a crowd. But it will kind of make things a lot easier. I normally would probably fight them in that big arena, but I thought funneling them here is gonna make it even easier. And in fact it kind of does, because the AI is a rubber band AI and it rubber bands back to its original location. But yeah, that took care of them nicely. Now this is the first King's Door that we've ever seen. So it's probably the first spot you're gonna visit once you come back out. Or one of the first spots you're gonna visit once you come back out of Vendrick's chamber with the King's Ring. The very first thing you might want to try out is probably the King's Door in Drangleic Castle itself. The one that we so gloriously ignored till now. You can go there. You can even do stuff there, but we don't need to be there yet, let's put it that way. And this is the mysterious final bonfire of this area. Once you talk to Nashandra and Drangleic Castle, by the way, you will see all of the bonfires you haven't visited yet in the bonfire menu. Or rather, you will see if you're missing one, but you won't see if you've already been there. Right here we could also summon Benhart and Drummond, but we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna do that on New Game. Now there's not a boss fight immediately, but let me tell you, the best strategy to handle this is to just run through it. And of course, watch out for that head. This is probably the location where we fought the Pursuer in the present, I guess. And this up ahead, this is the boss. The Giant Lord is maybe, we don't know, the last giant, only in his younger days, using a sword instead of his own arm as a weapon. But aside from that, he has a very, very similar, but slightly faster moveset. It's essentially the same fight, but really you need to look out for his attacks because they do a lot more damage. You will want to stay close to his feet. You can even stay close to his feet, and whenever he tries to attack with his sword and sweep around, you can run away, but I find much easier to get in a couple hits and then run away, rather than waiting for him to stomp and then attack more. Doesn't work that well in my experience. This sword will not outright kill us in one hit, but it'll do a lot of damage. In the earlier versions of this game, I think he was much more powerful, but as always, people complained about being one-shotted, which is not something that usually happens in Souls games. Okay, he's dead, and we even got a soul. We also got the giant's kinship, whatever that means. But we're gonna find out. It might make sense even. So yeah, we kind of skipped through the entire area, so let's go and grab the stuff that we ran past. There's not a lot of stuff here, but it's still pretty good stuff. I mean, good by some definition. It's nothing that you absolutely need, but it's maybe nice to have. And yeah, as I said, this is probably the location we fought the Pursuer in, with this part to the right here where the nest is that will lead us to the Lost Bestie. Right here where this corpse is. Yeah, let's just speed up the walk back, obviously. Don't need to see all that, like, third time. And of course, once we're back, Navlan invades right away. What a dick. This is the second time, and he always does that once you come back out here after defeating the Giant Lord. Should you die against him, he won't spawn. They're kind of hoping to, you know, give you that feeling that you're safe. And maybe not even heal because, you know, there's a bonfire right outside. So he can surprise attack you and kill you. And while it did surprise me because I forgot that this was happening, I'm having none of that. It's not like he's in particularly a powerful opponent or anything. I mean, you can just interrupt his attacks over and over, if you will. And now one more little goodie. If you go down here, you can grab some Twinkling Titanite. And if you jump down further, you will be back in that area where we got the Fire Longsword way back at the beginning of the game. Now there's a couple things that we can get after fighting the Giant Lord, so let's just collect some goodies.
Take these. I think you may just need... Don't ask me why. I just do. Be gone with you. This fort will soon fall. Be gone before the giants are entirely upon us.
In New Game we summoned Benhart for the Giant Lord fight, which makes this the third successful summon, and you know what that means.
We have outwitted death a good many times. Oh, my dear friend, take these. My home, and this...
And the last one we know has a connection to the giants, and the war against them is actually a ghost right up here, and he also has a gift for us.
Welcome, visitor. Our guests are treated with honor. This is the way of our castle. Tell me if you should require anything. The King of Giants. How did you slay that behemoth? Incredible. Now, take these.
But there's one last memory that we can visit. It's actually DLC content, but I might as well show it off right away. It is, of course, none other than Vendrick's own memory. We don't need to be here yet, of course, but let's see what the king has to say. Because he's right here, and completely sane.
Seeker of fire, coveter of the throne. I am Vendrick, ruler of Drang Lake. As flame rises, so does it fade. Such is the way of things. Do you intend to link the fire? Then you must first take the throne. Prove your worth. Find the ancient crowns. Seek adversity, and they will be yours. And your wishes granted. And your wishes granted. And your wishes granted.
As we go through the DLCs, Vendrick will have more stuff to say. Right now, not much, except that our wishes might be granted. We've already seen what we can make of the Ancient Dragon Soul in action, but we also got a soul from the Giant Lord, the Hex Repel. Well, what does it do? Let's check it out. Just got an enemy over here, and yes, we are completely invulnerable for like 1 to 2 seconds after casting it, and it's a fairly quick cast. I'm not sure if it's any use to use it, but it might be useful for really hard-hitting heavy attacks that you can't block or reliably dodge. Still, most of the time I figure I'd be better off using a shield or just roll away. So yeah, this is it for today. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. See you again next time.